In this question, we have an equation y is equal to 3 cos 2x plus 2. For x is greater than 0 and less than pi, we have to state the greatest and least value of y. So for the greatest value, we can just add this 2 and this 3 up here. So the greatest value will become 5. And for the least value, we simply subtract the two values. So the least value would be a -1. Now to sketch the graph of this function, we know it goes from 0 till pi. As it is a 2x, it means in 0 till pi, it will have one cycle. The highest point is 5, the lowest point is -1, as we have seen from the first part. So let's say this is pi upon 2 and this is pi. So the curve starts from the highest point, which is 5. So, and an easier way to construct graphs is you can just simply substitute values of 0, pi upon 2 and pi into the equation. So substituting 0 into the equation, we get 3 cos 2 times 0 plus 2. So cos of 0 is 1, so the highest point is 5. When we substitute pi upon 2, we get -1, and when we substitute pi back again, we get 5. So we can make a graph, the cos graph, like this. Now in the next part, we have, by considering the straight line y is equal to kx, we have to state the number of solutions of the equation. So the number of solution means the points basically at which the line and the curve will intersect. So when k is equals to -3, it means the equation is y is equals to -3x. So first of all, we'll construct the line y is equals to -3x. So roughly that line would be, let's take x equals to -1. So y will be a +3. And if we take x as +1, y would be a -3. So roughly the line, it will be passing through the origin, as when x is 0, y would be a 0. So roughly the line would be like this. And it will be passing through the origin. Okay, so we can see from the curve and the line that they are not intersecting, so we can write that they have no solutions. And we'll have to make sure that we show that this passes through the origin. Now in the next part, k is equals to 1, which means the equation is y is equals to x. Now when we make the curve for y is equals to x, it means when x is 1, y is 1, when x is 2, y is 2, and so on. So the line would be somewhat like this. Now we can see that they're intersecting at two different points. So the answer would be that it has two solutions. And for k is equals to 3, the equation would become y is equals to 3x. So the line would be somewhat like this. And we can see that for this part, there is only one solution. And the next part, we have that function. There are three functions f, g, and h. Describe fully a sequence of transformation that maps y f of x onto g of x. Now, what we have to understand is that f of x is 3 cos 2x plus 2, and g of x is f of 2x plus 4. Now, when this basically, when the value of x over here is doubled, basically this represents a stretch with scale factor half and parallel to the x-axis. So let's say if we have a function f of x and it is transformed to f of 2x, it means basically it is a stretch factor half parallel to the x-axis. So this is parallel to the x-axis, and this +4 basically represents a simple translation in the y direction. So the +4 means that the graph will shift 4 units upward. So we can say that this is a translation with vector 0 and 4, as there is no movement in the x direction, and it has a movement of 4 units in the y direction. So basically these are the two transformations that transforms f of x onto g of x. Now in the last part, we have we have to describe a sequence of transformations that map y is equals to f of x into y is equals to h of x. So comparing this, we can see that h of x is 2 times f of x plus half pi. Now, when it is x plus half pi, it basically is a translation in the x direction. So this represents a translation of, so this will be a negative half pi in and negative half pi in the x direction and 0 units in the y direction. And this too represents a stretch. So when the function is multiplied by any constant, it represents a stretch in the y direction, stretch in which is parallel to the y-axis. So we can say stretch parallel to y-axis, and the stretch factor would be 2.